Hi there folks, and welcome back to the Play School. So today we're going to do a track from the 60s that is not by the Beatles. I know, shocker. This one is a great track. It's by the Monkees and it's called Daydream Believer. Now this song I just find to be so cheerful. I love playing it. The chords are not particularly difficult, but we're going to add in some kind of extra lush harmonic additions to make it sound really cool at the end, so stick around for that. So let's do it. Okay, Daydream Believer is in the key of G. That is going to just involve all the white notes with an F sharp. Okay, we're going to use a C sharp at one point during this, but apart from that, all of our notes are going to come from that particular palette. Starting in our intro with a G chord. We're going to take this in root position. G, skip A, play B, skip C, play D. You notice this is quite high. There it is, right? Okay. Now, our second chord is a D sus4. So I'm going to explain how we get to that first real quick, and then I'm going to show you how to play it because it's real simple. A D chord, D, F sharp, and A. Now, we're going to make that by thinking of a D scale just momentarily. D, E, F sharp, G, A. That's all we need to know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 3, and 5 make up our D chord. Now our 7, as many of you will remember, we can find by taking our root note and dropping it 2 half steps, right? So for this purposes, we've got a C. We can add it, right? We're just going to move it to the top. And there we get D, F sharp, A, C, which is a D7 chord in root position. Now, sus4. D, E, F sharp, G is 4. And the difference between a 7, or indeed a 6, 9, 11, whatever, is that with a sus4 chord, we're actually going to swap 3 for 4, which gives us this chord here. D, G, A, C. Okay, so there's the theory. In practice, what does this mean for us? Okay, well, we're here. That's our first chord. Now, to make that, we're going to play the bass really nice and high above middle C here with our thumb or with our left hand, whatever thing you want. And we're just going to drop this down to there, moving those top 2 notes in parallel down to the next available white note. So we end up with this chord and this chord, right? And if we now think about that's our rhythm. That's actually going to be our rhythm for the whole piece. So there's your intro. Into the verse. Okay, so our verse is going to continue with this kind of this rhythm, this pattern. Top 2 notes, bottom finger, in a kind of swung pattern. Okay, now what we need to do is just change these chords around a little bit. So we are going to start with our G chord. Now our second chord in the verse is A minus 7. And actually, we are just going to take that by doing the same move, leaving us with a G, A and a C, as we did for the introduction. But if we change our bass note, I can fly beneath the wind. Sounds slightly different because we've got that A there, right? Now, technically speaking, this A minor 7 wants an E, but the 5 note is optional, okay? We can still get everything we need from the G, the A, and the C. Okay? Now, third chord, B minor 7. No, just B minor, actually. Now, so we're going to take that. We're in A minor 7 here. We're just going to think about, okay, where does B live? So B, skip C, play D, skip E, play F sharp. There we are, we're within the key signature, right? The only note of those that's sharp is F. Now we're going to just take that F sharp and put it on the bottom. So we've got this chord. Okay, which means we can quite easily come from there to there. Okay, just kind of expanding our fingers outwards and picking up the B in the middle with our middle finger. So we've got G, A minor 7, then to B minor, and then the next chord is C, which we are going to take simply by shunting to the right. C, E, G, put the G down there because that finger is right above it, okay? So G, A minor, 7, B minor, C, and then we're going to go back to G. Now our next chord after that is E minor 7. If we find that, E, G, B is E minor, E minor 7, put the D at the top there, you'll find that actually we've got a G chord, G, B, D, and we don't need the E because we're playing it there, right? Yeah. And then to finish this kind of first cycle around the chords, we're going to go to an A7. So we're going to start with an A major chord. This is the one that's not in the key signature. So let's find A in the key of G. So A, skip B, play C, skip D, play E. Now in the key of G, using the G notes, A is minor. But we know that we can just make that major by taking the middle note when we're in root position with the key note at the bottom, by making that just 1/2 step higher, right? So there's your A chord. The original thumb drop to find the 7, A, G, there. Right, so there's your A7. So we've got G, E minor, 7, and then so this becomes just keep that G and stretch up to the A7, and then lastly we want a D7 chord. Now again we're going to go D, F sharp, A. There's your D chord. Take our A down to here to make it easy to play. Right, so there's your A7 to D, but we want that to be a D7. So we're going to play that. Now in this instance, we do not have to play this D, remember, because we've got a D down here. But for this song, I think that D is in there because there's kind of like, well, it's not clashing, but kind of like chunky bit of harmony there is really important. So the second half of that was G, E minor 7, no change, stretch up to A7, and then kind of rotate to play D with all your notes. Okay. Let's try the first half of that verse. We're not going to put the rhythm in just yet. I could fly 'neath the wings of the bluebird as you see. Now those chords are going to kind of recycle with one very important difference. When we get to it, animals wipe the sleep out of my eyes. Same. Now these chords, the G, the E minor, the A and the D, are going to all happen with two very important differences. First difference, let's do the A. It's going to be A minor. We're going to revert back into our key signature. So, and then just expand reach up. Okay, so that's the only change there. The other change, which is really important, is they're going to happen twice as fast. So whereas before we were like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, we're now going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, it's all the same stuff with a change to the C sharp and just that little bit quicker. So let's see if we can play that whole verse all the way through. Oh, I could fly with the wings of the bluebird as she says. At 6 o'clock alone, but never but it rains, and I ride like the sea. Okie dokie, I hope you're still with me. Let's get into the chorus, and good news, this is the only other section we actually need to learn. Okay, so we're over halfway there. We've just come through... and got to there. Now, obviously, it's going to happen, but we're going to cover that at the end. We're going to focus on the chords for now, and our first chord is going to be a C chord, which we will take in root position. Middle C, skip D, play E, skip F, play G. Okay, so let's take that. Now our next chord after that is a D. Consecutive chords, adjacent chords, don't share any notes in their simplest form. So we're just going to take, instead of going C, step up to D, remembering about the F sharp, we're actually going to just make it a bit more interesting by stepping down. So D, F sharp, A. Okay, C, D. And our third chord, B minor. Well, so let's have a look. B minor would be B, D, F sharp, and we are on A, D, F sharp. So this is a lovely change. C, D, B minor. Okay. This next time we're going to go C, D, and our kind of second ending for this groups of three is an E minor. So for this one, actually, we will just shunt up to E, G, B. Would have been E, G, B. We'll take the B down there. So two groups of three with different endings. C, D, B minor. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and then back to C, 3, 4. That's the first half, and then for the actual Daydream Believer, we're going to go to a G. So we're on our C here. We've already got a G with our pinky. So let's think about where would those other notes come from. The other notes we need are B and D. We're really close to B and D down here. So we're going to do this old favourite move where we just keep our pinky in the same place and expand. Daydream Believer back to C. And then we're going to do this little turn around with the G, E minor 7, A7 and D7, just like we did in the first time through the verse. So, yeah. So we've gone G here, contract back to C, and back to G, same place. Now, remember about E minor 7 is that it can be a G chord with an E in the bass. Nice and simple, right? And then actually what we'll do here, if we were moving to an A chord, we'd take A, C sharp, E in root position more than likely. Remember, do the thumb drop down to that. And then this becomes exactly the same change as we had at the beginning. Okay. Let's run through those chords again, nice and slow. So we're taking C in root position. C, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3. Here's your little C to G bit. Daydream Believer. Back to G again. No change. Thumb drop for A. To D7, play all the notes. And that is the end of that chorus. Okay, so the structure for this piece, relatively simple. We'll start with our intro. Where else would you put it? We're going to have a verse. Kind of cycles twice around the chorus, but we'll call it verse 1. Then you have a chorus, then straight into verse 2, exactly the same, straight into chorus, which actually happens twice the second time. It's only short. If it's nice, play it twice. Then we have an interlude, which actually is kind of the same. Well, it's exactly the same as the introduction again. And then we have, at least a double chorus. And then on the record, it repeats to fade, which of course you cannot do on the piano. So you're going to have to think of an ending. Okay, so 2 bits of extra jazz for you to have a look at here. The first one we shall do. Yes, so when we're playing this verse, it's just one extra chord I want us to be aware of. We're here. another bit I poorly explained, this kind of clunky or no, clustered harmony earlier on, and we want that in the C as well. So what we're going to do here is we are going to use a chord called C add 9. Now, what's the 9? Well, if an octave, oct is 8, then 9 is actually the same as 2. Let's not get into that. All we need to know is that the note we're adding here is a D, right? So actually when you play that, we're going to have 3 notes who are all next to each other. Yeah? Oh, I could fly. Okay, just makes it sound even more like the record, and I really like it. Okay, second bit of jazz. This is the bit we all need to know, right? So, as we come into the chorus, right? It's minor there, isn't it? That resolves nicely up to the G. Well, we've got to be a little quick here because in order to start our little link section, we want a G here. G, B, D. Okay? And if we think about the shape of this phrase, let's do the top first. We're going to start here. And we can kind of hear. So let's just do that. Okay, so far so good. Now the bass line, same pattern, but we are going to do that on G. Now, we have the same shape. The only thing we need to bear in mind is that because we're starting on the G, is that we go down to the F sharp, and then as we kind of head down, bum, 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 we need to make sure we go through the F sharp as well. Okay, so if we put those together, okay, and that's basically all it is. Now, if we want to make this real jazzy, what we can do is actually play that note with your right hand as well. In fact, we could do that with our full G chord. And all that means is, again, we're just moving these notes in parallel. Yeah, so start there. Nice, right? And one step further, get that D in. Etc, etc. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how we play Daydream Believer. Hope you have a lot of fun with it. Questions or comments, you know what to do. I'll see you next time.